NFL draft season is here as we have the Senior Bowl practices in game this week, but over the weekend we had the NFLPA Bowl, and I'm going to go over my risers from the practices and the game. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Let's go ahead and get into it with Martez Mapu. Actually, one of my favorite risers or favorite guys throughout the practices. He didn't end up playing the game as he got called up to the Senior Bowl, so I can't wait to see him there. He's a bit of a linebacker safety hybrid, though not really exactly playing linebacker at Sacramento State, really more of an overhand safety, playing in the slot type of role there. But he was unranked recruit out of the 2017 class. He played many positions in high school: quarterback, wide receiver, linebacker, safety, and corner. He redshirted his freshman season, missed 5 games in the 2018 season because of injury, played two games at safety, and then in 2020 their season was canceled. 2021 started 12 games in the slot, made all second team all Big Sky, used the extra year of eligibility from Dorona to return for 2022, and he was a first team All-America. This dude's got exceptionally great length. He really does. Looking at his, he was measured up at 33.5-inch arms. That's absolutely ridiculous. It really is. Great length. Over the last 2 seasons, he has 6 interceptions, 12 picks, 6 interceptions, 12 pass breakups. So you see the ball skills with him. He plays with very good awareness out in space. He reads and reacts exceptionally quickly, comes downhill with a good head of steam, and he's been a solid tackler throughout his whole career, and he showed a lot of those during the practices, and he was definitely the one guy that was really catching my eye defensively consistently. Like, he has the athleticism to man up on running backs, on tight ends. He's shown the ability to be an extra blocker during his time with the Hornets, and he is, like, you go and look up just interviews with him or about him on YouTube, as his teammates, his family, his coaches, they all express how much of a vocal leader and mentor he has been, and like how he has no problem like teaching the younger players there on Sacramento State on specifically, you know, what to do and how to be successful. Apparently he had he met Junior Seau when he was 10 years old, so that's pretty cool. But most of his snaps, he was working out in space, so he never really had to take on blocks. And actually, something during the practices, that's something I noticed, that they didn't really call a lot where like he was kind of like in the middle of the field or having to come downhill as a tackler. It was a lot of passing in the full team drills, so like we didn't really get to see him having to take on blocks. So there's going to be questions about his play strength depending on where you decide to put him, whether that's linebacker, weak side linebacker, maybe in the slot, maybe as safety. But you love that type of versatility, and I honestly can't wait to see him in the Senior Bowl. That's my biggest thing. I'm happy to have to talk more about this guy. He had an exceptional year last year for the Hornets: 80 tackles, 10 pressures, 3 pass breakups, and 2 sacks and 2 picks. On to the next with Zari Barnes out of Western Michigan. He is a linebacker at 6'1", 232. He was talked about quite a bit this week during the practices, and then he had the interception during the game, though it was kind of a fluky interception. I think the receiver went in on a slant, and the defender was able to get in there, popped it up, and Barnes happened to be there, returned it for like 26 yards or something. But Barnes is definitely an interesting guy that I think has good late round potential at 6'1", 232 this past season. 89 tackles, 17 pressures, 3 sacks, 2 pass breakups, and an interception. He will be 24 to start the NFL season, but that's kind of is what it is. It's kind of whatever. But former 3-star recruit out of the 2018 class. He played running back and safety in high school, and he was actually initially a safety there at Western Michigan, where he's the first 2 seasons he only had 4 starts with them being at safety, and then he suffered a knee injury in 2020, missed the season, but during that point he kind of made the move to linebacker, and he's looked good in the MAC. He was a second team All-MAC in 2021, then he was first team All-MAC in 2022, and the dude's got a strong upper body. You can tell he's got nice muscly arms. Sounds kind of weird saying it out loud, but it is what it is, and he actually shows that a lot as a blitzer, as when he has to deal with contact. He uses his hands well to get leverage on blockers. He times his blitzes perfectly, like delayed blitzes. Like, he does a good job of I guess navigating the line of scrimmage and whatnot, and he has legit laid some jarring blows on the quarterback this season. He has got good length, the ability to disrupt passing lanes with that length, and he plays with a good motor, shows good pursuit speed. Kind of the kind of things with him is like, he's an alright athlete. Like, I think he's average for the position. If he ends up testing better than that, then yeah, man, I think maybe we could talk about this guy as like a mid-day 3. I don't know if he'll get any higher than like a 5th rounder, but entirely possible in a relatively weaker linebacker class. But the thing was, from 2021 to 2022, he improved so much as a run defender. Like, he showed a lot more gap discipline and just much more comfortability. He was a lot more comfortable, let's say it that way, in the box. Doesn't always play with the best gap discipline, but again, it was something that improved much this season. Outside of hitting the quarterback, doesn't exactly have, like, doesn't play with a lot of pop, but that's neither here nor there. That's kind of like nitpicking. He had a really good week there in the NFL collegiate practices, so look forward to maybe seeing more of him, maybe get a combine invite. On to the next, being Titus Swen out of Wyoming, playing running back there. He's a bit more of an interesting prospect here as we look at his background, but he was definitely the running back that I think most NFL teams wanted to see, as that became very apparent as he was given the workload in the game, whether it was running the ball and especially passing. They wanted to see what this guy could do in the passing game, because there were questions and hesitancies with what he can do with that at Wyoming, because like, he just wasn't used very much in the run or in the passing game. He only had 108 receiving yards back in 2022, but he's a former 3-star recruit out of the 2019 class. Played widely or largely a rotation role. His I guess first 2 seasons he opted out of the 2020 season, but he was in that rotation in 2021, and then in 2022 it was his turn to take the reins there, and he did an exceptionally great job. Ran for over 1,000 yards, 8 tutties. However, going into the bowl game, prior to the bowl game, this was like a week after the season finale, he was dismissed from the team. And this is kind of probably the big sticking point with him. Is he draftable, or can we take a shot on him at late day 3? And I kind of lean more that you can take a shot on him more at late day 3, but he was dismissed from the team. And this is via the coach for personal conduct below the standard necessary to be a member of the Wyoming Cowboys. And then Swen came out to comment on that. It was like, it was really a disagreement in game plan. However, this sets off red flags for me, because it's like, okay, it's a discipline, or it's a disagreement in his role. This guy played a huge role in the offense in 2022. What disagreement could have been made there? Those are my questions. So I kind of want to know more. Will we know more? I don't know. Kind of is what it is. But to be fair, that was really his only red flag during his career there. Now, when we talk about him as a prospect, decent build, 5'10", 201. He he's a very patient one-cut runner, plays with very good physicality, like around the line of scrimmage, very no nonsense, like very much north and south. And when he gets to the second level, he actually's got some shifty moves, and he shows a little bit of elusiveness. Actually, back in high school, he returned kicks and punts, so that's kind of cool. However, he isn't a guy that can turn nothing into something. Like, he's gonna, like, especially around line of scrimmage, again, no nonsense. He's gonna take whatever the offense gives him. If he could get to that second level, then great. Then he could kind of like, then you start to see a little bit magic. But outside of that, it's like, okay, the guy that won't be able to really do much if we have a substandard offensive line and we're just constantly getting pelted in the backfield. That's not really his game. However, if you get this guy out in spaces, which is why I think that he was given a lot of shots in the passing game during the actual game. Like, I think he had 4 targets in that game, and it was like they really wanted to see what this guy could do maybe out in space, because he just wasn't a huge part of the passing offense back at Wyoming. But a very, very fascinating prospect in this I think this is a good running back class. Like, there's going to be good running backs all throughout it. And I think Swen honestly wouldn't be a guy I wouldn't mind taking a shot at on late day 3. It's just, again, you have that question. Like, why? Like, so much so that you were dismissed. Like, initially he was going to go into the transfer portal and said, just screw it, I'm going to declare. But again, interesting, but a guy that was definitely far and away the best running back at the NFLPA Bowl. Moving on to the receivers, I got Jason Brownlee out of Southern Miss. This is a guy actually already had an eval on going into the week, and he looked really good. Like, he was probably, there were probably like 2 or 3 receivers I was like, yeah, these guys are definitely, I would say, draftable. The rest of them, I was kind of like, kind of is what it is. But this cat was a 3-star JUCO transfer out of the 2020 class. He initially attended 2 seasons at Eastern Mississippi Community College, where he was like a first-team All-American for junior college players. Transferred to Southern Miss, started 9 games where he led all major receiving categories in 2020 and 2021. He started all 12 games, made he made second team All Conference USA. Returned for the 5th season. Again, COVID year, so it's like, we get another year, yay. And he played every game, made 3rd team All Sun Belt, because yes, they jumped conferences. So had a good year, honestly. 55 receptions, 891 yards, and not half bad with those 8 tutties. But he's a tall receiver at 6'2", 202, or at least taller. Huge wingspan, really good wingspan, solid contested catcher with a reliable set of hands. Like, and that was something you noticed during like the one-on-one drills. Very, very nice set of hands. And he really knows how to use his body and his arm length to create separation, because this is a guy that has more long field speed. He doesn't have a lot of, I would say, quicks to his game. He just isn't an elusive receiver. And like, I think once he gets top speed, it's pretty nice, and he can challenge downfield. But like this dude, like, he runs good routes. Like, he really does. He knows how to stack receivers. He tracks the ball exceptionally well when it's in the air. He's ideal jump. Like, I think this guy can test out with very good, I think Brownlee, someone commented that I think this guy, it's like, hey, say their names. It's like, I'm sorry. I'm just talking like a normal human being. But anywho, I think he's got good jump ball ability. I think he could test out pretty explosively. And I'm very curious to see what his vert and whatnot will be. He's also got that size where he's a little tough to bring down after the catch, so you like that. Did run a limited route tree at Southern Miss. However, in the one-on-one drills, he was very solid as a route runner. I don't think I don't think expanding his route tree and having him like learn those routes, how to run those routes is going to be a problem at the next level. So I like this cat as potentially maybe a late day 3 or maybe a priority UDFA, maybe even depending on how he tests out, could go higher. It's just like people talk about how like the top of the receiving class isn't wonderful because we don't have like Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith, or Chris Olave, Drake London, guys we saw like last year, Garrett Wilson. But there is a plethora of good receivers available throughout this draft. Brownlee being one. Matter of fact, I think we're gonna move over to Holton Ahlers out of ECU because this cat was the best quarterback there. Like consistently, you remember we talked about him. I think it was during the Hula Bowl. It was during the Hula Bowl, and he just continues to be like, "Hey, yeah, I got a freaking wonky throwing motion, a little short arm release. Kind of is what it is, but I'm a hell of a thrower of the ball. Like he really is. Like he ends up showing out. Like he showed out at the was it the Hula Bowl? I believe it was, yeah, the Hula Bowl. And then he comes back here at the NFLPA Bowl. And he's like, yeah, you know what? Still the best quarterback here. And we were talking about guys like Sean Clifford, who's I think could be a back into the draft type of guy or a priority UDFA. A lot of people really want to see Lindsey Scott, who PT Dubs. He was all right, but yeah, I think fortunately, he was more so known for that dirty late hit by, I can't remember the Texas Tech linebacker. It was like Merriweather. I don't know. That dude's not going to get drafted. No kidding. Especially after that hit. No one even probably cares to go back and look at your tape. You could probably find the hit like YouTube, Twitter if you want to really look at it. It was late, blatantly late. Don't know what you're doing. Dude didn't even stick out during the practices, but we're not here to talk about him. I'm talking about freaking Holton Ahlers, because this dude just continues to stand out. He's a southpaw passer. He's got plus mobility. Is he gonna be scary at the NFL level with his speed? No, but he is capable of extending plays with his feet. He's shown the poise to stick in the pocket and deliver the football under pressure. He's got a nice sturdy build at 6'3", 237. He had a very good year for the Pirates. And, like, you know what? Like, I don't know. I might be willing to draft this cat at the back end of day 3. Maybe in that 6th, 7th round area. Like, I think he's shown enough that warrants, like, he's got the build. He might not have, like, he doesn't have a huge arm. He does have a limited arm. He does lack zip in his throws. His release is kind of wonky. The mechanics are kind of wonky, but like he just has the poise, that moxie that you just want from like a guy on your team, on your roster. I think you could maybe build this guy into a solid backup. So like he probably ends up UDFA. I think that's the most likely scenario, but I think he's had one heck of a draft season process thus far, and he warrants a look. I think he has a chance to make a practice squad and then eventually maybe an NFL roster down the line. You did a heck of a good. All right, I'm going to talk about Joey Fisher out of Shepherd, and I say that because I feel a lot of different ways about Joey here. 6'4", 292. Probably profiles a tackle. He does have sub 33-inch arms, but it's 32.5-inch. He ended up not playing in the game because he ended up getting called up to the Senior Bowl. So we're actually going to see and hear more from him. But let's talk about him first. He is going to be an older prospect. This guy's from the 2016 recruiting class, and he redshirted his freshman season. He played 3 years at right tackle. They didn't have a 2020 season, got canceled, which allowed him to have another year of eligibility, to which then he moves to left tackle. And the dude was a first-team All-American there in Division 2. His brother actually played a little bit for a little time on the Rams, Dustin Fisher. This dude's absurdly strong. He benches 500 pounds, and you see it. Like, this guy, Mr. Fisher, was consistently pancaking guys. Like, he was a force in the run game, and he would often ragdoll and toss guys in the passing game, and we'll get to that. How I think the movement skills are solid, and I think there's a lot there to be like, okay, solid developmental guy. Maybe warrants a late day 3 pick. But don't get it twisted. This dude's a project. He doesn't have ideal length. He doesn't really play with very good technique. Like, he doesn't use his hands exceptionally well a lot of the times. Like, I noticed a lot of hold-in on what I saw from 2022. If you go to the D2 championship game, I don't think he plays with good awareness of where his quarterback's supposed to be in the pocket. Like, okay, is this cat taking it from shotgun? Is it going to be like a 5-step drop back? You should know where your quarterback's going to be in the pocket. And there's a play where Fisher in that championship game, you could see it. You could go watch it. I'm pretty sure it's on YouTube. Fisher just tosses a defender into his quarterback in the pocket, and it results into a fumble returned for a touchdown. So I'm like, maybe need to work on that. I'm not too worried about him being sub 300. He's exceptionally strong. I don't think he has. I don't think he's gonna be able to play on the outside. That's just me, because outside of like the sub length, he just doesn't have many ways if he's losing. Like, especially if he loses to length or to leverage, like, he doesn't have many ways of how am I going to win this outside of, ooh, me strong, like, you got to have a bit more than that. That's why I kind of see him as a developmental guy. And also, I think he could probably kick in to guard and actually be a freaking, like, potential monster down the road. So we're going to see more of him in the Senior Bowl. I'm excited. I can't wait. Let's keep this sucker moving with Mitchell Tinsley. I actually thought he was earlier on my list, and I thought I was talking about him right after Brownlee, but no, I said, hey, let's talk about different positions and come back to the wide receiver position. It is what it is. Tinsley, I think, looked like the best wide receiver there. I thought he was smooth. He looked polished. If you don't remember, he was formerly played at Western Kentucky. He actually has a long road, because he initially played 2 years at Hutchinson Community College, then transferred to Western Kentucky, and just had a breakout year in 2021. He actually caught the touchdown that gave Bailey Zappi the touchdown record for most touchdowns in a college football season, where he beat Burrow. Tinsley had the touchdown, so that's kind of cool. He then transferred to Pitt, had a solid year, solid outing, and you know what? This guy's got a nice compact frame, 6 foot, 207. He bounces well off tackles. He brings physicality on the down-to-down bases, shows good contact balance, combines that with very good, I would say, stop-start ability. He is a bit twitchy. You kind of see that out of the route running, and I thought he was just one of the most outstanding in the one-on-ones. Really, he was consistently creating separation and making corners look a fool. I think he's a solid route runner, exceptionally good route runner. He knows how to create separation with his hands. If he can't do it with with his athleticism, he does have quick feet, does lack high-end speed, but I'm kind of like, whatever. Like, this is a cat that could definitely make it at the next level as a wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 on the outside or in the slot. He can make catches in traffic. He had a 7.3 drop rate this year. So you might be like, oh, that's dangerously close to 10%. It's not. If it gets into that like 8.5, then it's dangerously close. Outside of that, it's just kind of like, okay, it's middle of the road. Isn't the most explosive guy. He really is. It doesn't have that breakaway speed you want. Like, there are times where he is caught from behind by secondary players, but kind of is what it is. Does lack length for the position to consistently high point the football, though I will say his length came in a lot better than what I initially expected. Huge hands, 10 and 2/8 inch hands, huge hands. The length is better than expected, which was wild for me, but I don't know. I came away like, you know what, like I think this cat could be midday 3, maybe even test early day 3. I think what's going to pull him down is his overall testing. I don't think he's going to be like outstanding. I expect a pretty good 3 cone from Tinsley, but like 40s, the fur and whatnot, I don't expect it to be like balls to the wall. But yeah, no, I think he was probably outside of Martez Mapu. Tinsley was probably my favorite guy there at the NFLPA Bowl. All right, let's move on to Demontre Jacobs, offensive tackle out of South Florida. He allowed 17 pressures, 2 sacks this past season. And this is actually probably one of my favorite developmental prospects. So he was unranked recruit out of the 2017 class. He committed to Grambling State to play defensive line. He redshirted his freshman year and made the move to offensive line or offensive tackle and played the next 2 seasons, started the next 2 seasons for Grambling State, then transferred to South Florida in 2020. He started 1 game, but started all 12 games the following season. He used the extra year from COVID, that's right, to come back, and he started the first 4 games at right tackle because he primarily played right tackle his whole career. Moved to left tackle for the last 8, and I will say this, like, he was definitely probably one of the more coached guys at the NFLPA Bowl, as you could tell he lacks technique. Like, you could tell he's gonna be a project. Like, he doesn't always show a complete understanding of blocking angles or how to work leverage, because there are times where he does get out leveraged or he opens up a bit prematurely, leaving basically just a pathway to go to the quarterback. But he was definitely a guy there that coaches and assistants were constantly around coaching up because of the size and the skill set and the length. Like, he is tall, he's got a thick lower body, very sturdy anchor, and plays I would say exceptionally well on the move. He shows a lot of effort. His hands hit with a very good pop. Dude has 36 and 2/8 inch arms. Can't ignore that. You know who had 36 inch arms last year? Braxton Jones. I think Braxton Jones was a bit more put together as a prospect, but these are the type of guys you kind of want to take a shot on and hope you can develop. I mean, not all of them are going to be able to start year 1 like Braxton Jones, but like this dude has a very good starting skill set. He a very good skill set to be an eventual starter somewhere down the line. While his hands, very active. It's just they're too willy-nilly, man. If you could hone this guy in, then shoot, watch out. Like, even his feet are exceptionally quick, but there are times where he gets ahead of himself, turns into a lunger, and it's like, you know what? Like, I'm very, very excited for Jacobs here, and he was probably the guy walked away and was like, yeah, this guy probably total project, but this is someone you rolled the dice on. I got him as a mid-day 3 pick right now. All right, we got David Perils out of Fresno State, 6'2", 248, playing edge. Actually had a banger year for Fresno State. 50 pressures, 13 sacks. He also had 2 forced fumbles, and he was kind of a pleasant surprise. He was someone that during the practice I was like, man, this dude just gets after it. He's got a really good first step, and he just gets after it. He was consistently solid. I was like, okay, let me see if I could go back and watch a little bit of him, and I did, and I was like, you know what? Like, probably still maybe like a 5th to 7th round pick, but definitely a dude with a draftable skill set. Not the most bendy guy. Kind of he lacks ideal length and doesn't necessarily use his hands the best, or he doesn't really have creative ways to break free from blockers. But the dude was very stout against the run there back at Fresno State, and like during practice he showed the ability to like pin his ears back and consistently push the pocket. If he couldn't get wins initially just from being stupid explosive, that he showed that ability to just keep pushing the blocker back. Like he does a great job at maintaining blockers who do want to get to the second level. This was something I noticed a bit on I think I watched about 3 Fresno State games with him in it, and like he's got a good variety of pass rush moves, but a lot of them have nothing to do with finesse, which is like, man, you got a good first step. I want to see a little bit more finesse moves. Like he will win with explosiveness on the outside by just running by you. That is not a move. Just saying. While he's an exceptionally solid, if not like probably not a spectacular. He's not like one of these other edge rushers we got in this class. Like we have a very good group of edge rushers, but I think he came away like, yeah, this is a guy I wouldn't mind having on my roster. He will be one of the older guys on the roster here. I believe he is a 6-year senior as well, but was a first team All Mountain West this past season. So came away really impressed with Perils. And then finally, I believe this is my last guy on the list, is Mikel Jones. This was the best, probably the best prospect at this whole thing. I don't think there was a better prospect on the field. And you know what? I had my hesitancies when he wasn't named to like a Shrine Bowl or a Senior Bowl. I was like, oh man, dude, this guy's not getting the hype I wanted or deserved. And then he weighed in 5'11", 229. Okay, not spectacular, but dude's got big hands and he's got long arms. So I thought initially, I was like, great, his length's gonna be probably subpar because he wears those horizontal bands on his arms, so it kind of creates the illusion that he's a lot longer than he actually is. Yes, that does that. That is a thing. Horizontal stripes, I'm telling you. But no, 33 and 2/8 inch arms. So 1/4 inch arms. You love to see it. And he was just amazing at the practice. He was all over the place. He was constantly surrounded by coaches. You could tell scouts were kind of flocking to him. And I love him, man. I think he showed good sideline to sideline speed, in which, I mean, totally makes sense. This is the cat who was playing a lot of mug fronts there at Syracuse, but was often asked, because they kind of play at Tampa too, so usually sometimes in that Tampa too, you're going to have the linebacker kind of play the middle third. So often playing in a mug front, he's playing there like in the A gap, in the B gap, and then on the line of scrimmage, and has to shoot back to his spot. So no kidding, man, this guy can run. No freaking kidding. That was something that really caught my eye. He had a solid season. This dude's a sure tackler. Great, just does a good job of wrapping up. So yeah, he has that length to consistently wrap up guys. It's going to be a problem in passing coverage because he's with that type of length, you're going to clog passing lanes just naturally. You really are. He's shown plus ability as a blitzer, and I think I walked away thinking he's probably a better athlete than I initially thought, because I thought maybe laterally, maybe the change of direction's not wasn't always spectacular. But I think I walked away. I was like, yeah, no, this guy's a better athlete than I initially thought, especially in a draft class like this. I think I moved him back up to that late day 2, early day 3 grade, but walked away very impressed. But let me know who were some of your favorite guys if you followed the NFLPA Bowl. That's it for the video. We got a wealth to go over this whole week with the Shrine Bowl, the Senior Bowl. It's going to be a blast. We're going to do a watch along of the Senior Bowl game, so I can't wait for that. We'll have Walk the Mocks all week, but until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.